my oldest daughter, she became very passionate during Standing Rock. She had seen it on the news, she had seen it on the YouTube, she had seen it on the internet. And so I brought her out there. And I remember the feeling I had as we rode into camp through Flag Road, and seeing all the nations together like that was very important for my daughter. And she just looked at me and she said to me, "There's a Standing Rock in Minnesota." And I kind of just laughed and I was like, "No, there's not." I was like, Standing Rock was a once in a lifetime moment where all walks of life came together for one cause, to fight for the water. And she just looked at me and she said, "Well, there needs to be. It's line 3 and it's coming here." And I just like shrugged and I was like, "I know." And at 6 years old, she just looked at me and she's like, "Then why are you just sitting here?" And you know, to the core of my being, that lit something in me. And I made a promise to my 6-year-old daughter in that moment that I would stop line 3. And so that was how my line 3 resistance started, was just bringing food out to the encampments that were before me, which were Muckwa Camp on the Fond du Lac Reservation and Maingan Camp. And so when we chose to name our camp, you know, we chose to name it Camp Migizi, the eagle, because Maingan, the wolf, and Muckwa, the bear, ran. And now we decided that Migizi would fly, because we had always talked about putting up a camp, finding a plot of land, but it was always kind of like a dream, you know, like build our own community. And to this day, I'm still surprised and amazed that we did it. I was, you know, raising children by means of mutual aid and in HUD housing on commods. And I was like, how are we gonna do this? You know, I was like, I laid down tobacco, I made promise to these trees, so how are we gonna do this? We crowdsourced the funds through GoFundMe in a land back campaign to raise the money to purchase that land. And in under a month, we had the money. We had the $30,000 to purchase those 10 acres. And we signed the papers on the 9th of January, and the first bell tent went up on the 10th. And we were in this for the long haul. And Enbridge was in for the fight of its life, because we weren't gonna back down. And, you know, our camp started every single day. Every single day we were doing direct actions. You know, I remember at Occhetti when LaDonna stated that she wanted a direct action every 5 minutes. The least we could do was every day. And so every day there was someone climbing into a trench, locking down the machinery, climbing inside the pipes, standing in the middle of the road so that the machinery couldn't pass. And this was an everyday thing, you know, right there in my home community in Fond du Lac. You know, at one point they attempted to isolate me from my support, stating that my relatives who were fighting with me weren't Indigenous, weren't from here. And many of them that day standing with me were Los Brown Berets. And from so-called Canada all the way to Chile, this continent is our home. We are Indigenous people. And so when they did that, you know, I lost a lot of respect for many people within my home community, but I didn't back down. And I didn't back down because it was that community that taught me how to be Fond du Lac strong. And I told them, you know, in that moment that I could not stop, because I made, you know, promises to generations that weren't even here yet. And at one point my own aunt was like, "Well, who are you? Who are you to make those promises?" And I was just shocked. You know, these are people who claim to be Medeawin. These are people who claim to be leaders, claim to be spiritual. Every single one of us here in the now should be answering to generations not yet here.